That's why they call me bad company. I can't deny.
All right, welcome to the W2W review. I am the Knight, and joining me from his LA studios is the Raider Pirate. What's up, Pirate?
Hey, what's going on, Raider Nation?
All right, Raider Nation. Today is Victory Monday. We're coming off a big victory versus the Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville. Now, we put out our post-game live video yesterday where we took your phone calls, got your insight, got your reaction yesterday. And we understand that the video itself, the show itself, really came out probably more negative than we intended it to. So we're going to start off. We're definitely going to talk about offense and defense. I just want to make a quick statement. For the past 3 years, I've been coming on here talking Raider football. Now, just for the record, guys, there's a statement I used. I started it last year. It was called "When Optimism Meets Reality." And if there's anything that I've learned over the course of the last 3 years, is sometimes you can't always believe in what you see. But I want this to be on the record. Not one time did me and Pirate say this wasn't a good team. This is a very good football team. All that we were doing yesterday was focusing on what the reality is moving forward. We're in a tough division here, guys. We are on top. We are on top of the division right now. Barely. We're tied, the three-way tie, essentially, with Denver and Kansas City. And we got a surging San Diego Charger team who continues to play well week in and week out. This team is not quitting at all. They're only 2 games back. They're right in the hunt. You could arguably say that this is the best division in football. I think the only thing that can compare to it at this point would be the NFC East, they're going back and forth in their division as well. So not only is this division up for grabs, but this wild card coming out of the AFC West is up for grabs. So my whole intentions, Pirate whole intentions, were to focus in on what the optimism is and what the reality could be, and that is simply this. We need to have more of a killer instinct. Are we a bad football team? Not at all. We're a very good football team. There's a statement that was used early in the week 1 where Jack Del Rio came out and say, last year we were a team that we're learning how to compete. This year we're learning how to win. Okay, I love that statement. That's been a driving force to what we've been seeing this season thus far. However, now that we're heading into week 8, we're 5-2. We're a team that's in the hunt and competing in our own division, not only just for the wild card. We are looking to take our division and be on top. Now we have to start not learning how to win, but just to win and get into other people's heads. I've said it before. This game is 80% mental, 20% physical. What I mean by that is all these players in the NFL have a physical ability. They're all athletes. They all can play this game. The other part of it is mental, through our schemes, through our philosophies, and the way that we approach games and win football games, we get into other people's heads. If we were playing the New England Patriots this week, we would be like, oh my goodness, this is a good football team. That's what we want to put in people's heads now. That's our only focus. It was not to talk about this team's not good. This team has a lot of issues. This team does not have a lot of issues. It's just missing that mystique, that true identity of what they are. I don't want to be a 50-50 team. I don't want a team that goes in and week out with the 50 chance to win. I want to go in there knowing that we're going to dominate somebody. And dominate doesn't mean blow somebody out 33-16. It means just to be able to do the plays necessary, execute philosophy and scheme, and execute the plays properly to do just that. Within saying that, Pirate, welcome to the show. I'm going to go ahead and give you a chance to speak here. What do we got offensively and defensively?
Once again, just to kind of reiterate a little bit, I think, we went over the numbers a little bit yesterday. It's a great victory. And again, happy to be at 5-2. Looking at the rest of this division, I think, like we talked about, you've been around doing this for a number of years. I think a lot of people have been around doing this for a number of years, and people are happy. They're excited right now because this team has been, has given hope and then taken hope away right around this point in the season. And right now we still have that hope moving forward.
Absolutely.
I look at it more or less like a team basically can go through the process of doing what you were talking about, learning how to competing, being a bad football team to learning how to compete and not necessarily win. And we were that. We were a horrible football team that couldn't even compete, getting blown out in London, 50. Let's not even go into those types of games. So we were schizophrenic, maybe win and then get blown out, maybe win and then get blown out, right? To learn how to compete. We just want to see them compete. Let's not forget, a couple of years ago, it was just please compete.
Right.
Just show us that you guys that you have some heart.
Correct.
To learning how to be in games until the very end and potentially win those football games, to consistently winning. And that's where I think we are at this particular point. Teams can go through that period over the course of 3 years, like we're doing. They can go through the course of a 3-month schedule in the season. Maybe start out slow like Kansas City did, and then come back and get into the playoffs. They can go through it in just 1 month of the season, like the Giants did, being horrible. They're going to fire their coach. This is terrible. The guy's got to go. They win the last 4 games, get into the playoffs, and win the Super Bowl. The NFL is designed this way. It's designed for parity. Now, there's a top echelon of teams, and that's what we have to look at right now. It's taken us a while to build. We've built on, I think, a fairly solid foundation. Good GM, drafting good players, getting a head coach that understands the NFL and how to win for this young football team. But once you get up to that upper echelon, that's where we start looking at it and saying, even if we do get in, there are teams out there, the New England Patriots, that are 6-1 right now. They're on a 3-game win streak. The Pittsburgh Steelers, they don't have Ben Roethlisberger, so they're at 4-3. But with a healthy Ben Roethlisberger, which I'm sure come playoff time he will be healthy, this is a very, very good football team. Regardless of the fact that they've lost 2 games now, this is a very good football team that will destroy you. In our own division, the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs, both of them right at our heels. San Diego is only 2 games back, folks. So once again, you start to look at this league and how it's developing. Can we play against the Buffalo Bills? Absolutely, I believe that we can. Can we play against, let's say, a team like the Colts or the Houston Texans? Yes, I believe absolutely we can. But we need to know that as we get deeper in and we start looking at these teams like the New England Patriots and the Pittsburgh Steelers, we're at the top of our division right now. Is that justified? Or could we just as easily be where San Diego is at 3-4? Or where, Cleveland is at 0-7? The potential is there that we could be in these situations. So once again, I haven't been around for, 10 years coming on here after games and just being like, the team. But I've been a Raider fan my entire life. I've watched football my entire life. I'm fairly new to coming on and doing this. But I do know that by being negative yesterday, we lost 1 subscriber. We picked that subscriber up again today. But we went from 5,050 to 5,049. And now we're back up to 5,050. So we understand that everybody's not going to agree with us. Our phone callers, have the same sentiment that we do, but there are people out there that don't. So just understand that, once again, we're not putting this team down. We believe that this can be a great team, our best team since the Super Bowl era, probably just as talented, if not more talented, than that Super Bowl team. So again, all we're trying to do is make sure that when we do match up against New England, when we do match up against Pittsburgh, we feel fairly confident that we can compete in those games. Because again, that's a whole different level. Once you get to the playoffs, can you even be in a playoff game? Do you just get motorboated out of the playoffs and just beat badly by a football team? Do you hang in there? Do you play a good game but get knocked out and come back the next year thinking that now you can't do that? Do you go in there and win a football game and develop some confidence and then go in and hang in there? That's a process itself. So I understand that particular process. I want this football team to live up to its potential, and so that's all. I mean, that's pretty much what we were getting at, I think.
Absolutely. In analyzing this football team, it's so easy off a game like yesterday to come on and just be the rah-rah boys, which I'll admit we could have did that a bit more yesterday in the show. I will admit that. But like I said, from my experience in doing this, I've done that so many times, and then I sell false hope to the average fan. Now, all of our diehard fans that come on here and they know the game, and you guys are amazing. The callers, the commenters, you know, we could go back and forth and argue different points of what we saw yesterday. But this was a good football team that handled its business. We saw a defense really rise to the occasion, coming off a horrible performance the week before at home against Kansas City in the rain, and they really played an excellent game. There's not one time that I ever feel like we were going to lose that game yesterday. That was an amazing feeling. So, you know, make no mistake about it. This is a good football team. My point yesterday was the fact that I want to be a great football team. We're heading into the part of the season now where things are about to get real. Teams are really going to start to surge. The teams that have been struggling, the teams that have had some mishaps, you know, some misplay opportunities late in games to lose games, teams like San Diego, or you could put Atlanta into that mix now. I mean, Atlanta's a lot better than what their record even says, and they're a solid football team as well as we are. That's my whole point. When you look at our losses, we're so much better than our losses. We're so much better than our victories. And I want it to be known that we're just focusing on what it's going to take to become the team that we've been craving for 13 years. We could easily sit back and talk about and be satisfied with what we've already gotten from this football team, 5-2, heading into week 8. We haven't been here in 13 years. Even the Hugh Jackson stretch where we had an opportunity to go 8-8 and be a wild card team, we weren't this kind of football team. We're a team that we could win any game, but once again, we could lose any game. That's my only point. So do we believe that this team's a playoff team? I believe this team is a playoff team. Now I want to be a playoff team that makes some noise. I want to be a playoff team that has a shot for the Super Bowl. I want to be a team that when you see us on the schedule, it's not a 50-50 thing. It's an 80-20 thing, like I said, where it's 80% mental. This team is going to beat us. We got to find a way not to beat ourselves. That's all we're saying. So this team is hot. This team is looking good. I just want to take it to the next level. I'm just keeping it real. That's all we're doing. Pirate, any final thoughts before we go to break?
Yeah, and just, really quickly here, we were the Jacksonville Jaguars. Like I said on yesterday's show, for anybody that didn't watch our post-game show yesterday, we were this football team. We were the team that was getting players ejected for committing stupid penalties back-to-back. You can remember just a few years ago. We were this football team. Coming into the season, it was us in Jacksonville. Who won free agency? Who won the draft? These guys drafted really well. They brought in a lot of big-time free agents. And if you look at our seasons, they've begun in very similar ways. This team went up against Aaron Rodgers week 1, very similar to us going up against Drew Brees. Then they went up against Phillip Rivers and the Chargers and lost, just like we went up against Atlanta, and again, another prolific offense. We both played against the Ravens. I'm sorry. They lost. We were able to pull that game out. They played against Andrew Luck. Okay, and then they had a Bears team just like we had a Chiefs team that basically comes out and run the ball and do what they want to do. And then we faced each other, and we were able to beat them 33-16. So once again, this was us a few years ago. We are clearly better than this football team. We're getting better as we're moving forward. And like I said, it's always better. It's always good Monday after a victory. That's the bottom line. I mean, we love it. It's great. It's going to be easier to talk about the Raiders, this coming up week. But again, there are just questions that need to be answered, and that's what we committed to doing. Coming on here, talking about those things. Man, trust me, if this was a 33-16 blowout where Jacksonville barely had to come back at the end to score and they were never in this game, and we just beat them in all phases, oh my God, this would be a whole different Monday morning conversation. So, once again, super happy, 5-2. We're in the position that we want to be. And we're willing to give it a break and move forward and see how this team does next week against Tampa.
Yes, the main point here is we are on our way to becoming a dominating team. And yes, we will focus on that more, but I'm not going to stop pointing out the things that's going to take us to that point. That's what we're excited about. So it might have came off negative, but it was mostly to be a positive, and we were just focusing on the things that's going to make us that AFC West champion, because we know that we have it in us.
Absolutely.
We know they have it in it. It's already been proven. We're 5-2. I can't wait for that Denver game. That's the game that I have circled on my calendar. I want to go out and beat that team. So that's what I was focusing on. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to talk to a Raider podcast legend. That's right. We're going to have Raider Greg joining the show, so stay tuned. All right, welcome back to the W2W Review. I am the Knight, joined by Raider Pirate, and now we want to welcome to the show a Raider podcast legend, a guy that's been bringing us Raider analysis for years and years and years, and he's the best in the business, if you ask me. We'd like to welcome Raider Greg to the program. Raider Greg, welcome to the Will to Win.
Well, thank you so much. It's an honor to be here with some of the best fans in sports. You guys doing a great job. Thank you for having me.
We appreciate it, Greg. Greg, let's go ahead and kick this thing off, man. We're going to go ahead and give you the floor, and why don't you go ahead and give us your initial reaction, your initial thoughts on yesterday's matchup versus the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Well, I wanted to see if there was some change. There has been change on the defense. You know, they went to a 3-4 primarily. They used Malcolm Smith in a different way, which was good, and he was better. But look who we're playing. I see the same systemic problems we've had all season. We played a really inferior team. We should have beat them soundly without any doubt. I'm glad we won. I'm glad we're 5-2. Don't get me wrong. But I see a lot of the same problems. And I just don't see a lot of change in the coaching and the way these guys are attacking on offense and defense. So Derek Carr, again, throwing over the middle, way too hard, without finesse. His coach better work on that, immediately, because at least twice we could have lost the football. And against a good team, we will. That's 2 turnovers. We lose the game. On defense, we got gashed again on the outside, even though they had a terrible run game. If they would have had a decent one, we'd have been in huge trouble. Special teams did a fantastic job like they have all season, and Marquette King is the stud of the game. And that's what I think.
Yeah, we covered the game yesterday, talked to a lot of people about it, and I think a lot of people had sort of the same types of feelings. We caught a little bit of flack for it. People, in the forums and things are, very much excited about this football team being 5-2. We're excited about this football team being 5-2. But as somebody that reports on the team, as somebody that isn't just, again, sitting in front of the television and just hoping for a win every Sunday, what is it that you think this team needs to work on as we now begin, again, trying to keep our foot on the pedal here and stay in control of this division? Because Denver and Kansas City are right behind us. As somebody that also, intimately watches this football team and then reports it out there to the fans and tries to be as non-biased as possible, what are some of the things that you think, outside of what changed up until this point, again, changing some of the personnel and the schemes on defense, which is great, what are some of the things that you think we need to change here sort of moving forward?
Well, the same things I've been talking about since we started playing this year. Musgrave is he is the most marshmallow play caller I have ever seen. He's consistently consistent. He is the white guy trying to dance in the rhythm and blues. He really has no pizzazz. I would love to see some plays other than the same plays over and over and over again. Please tell me that this is not his entire playbook, because that would be sad. We have great players on offense. We must win on offense. And unless this guy can get it together and start moving this team with rhythm, and I don't even know if he understands the word rhythm, but his play calling is as white as can be. He needs to have some change, because trust me, it's not anybody else. I'm worried more about our division than ever. Denver is no joke, and Kansas City, we saw earlier, is obviously no joke. And really, quite frankly, Tampa Bay came back from a 14-0 beating that they were getting and beat the 49ers 33-17. So we must change our philosophy on offense to get points early and often. We must come out in the first half and just bury people. Because if we don't, it has been proven through this season that we are not a fourth quarter team, not when we're behind, not when we're behind by 2 touchdowns. But let me give him credit, because Musgrave does, when he sees that, I don't know what happens. Someone just did a hot poker where the sun doesn't shine. Maybe that will work, because it seems like he starts to change his plays. I don't understand it. Maybe I'm not seeing it. I'm glad you guys are here. Maybe you can show me a different way. I know Ken Norton has improved. I don't know if it's him. I really feel in the heart of hearts that Del Rio has taken ownership of the defense and really has focused most of his time on it, and that's why we see improvement.
Absolutely, Greg. We talked last week. Me and Pirate were talking about we need to see a more of a 3-4 scheme from this team, and I believe that was all Jack Del Rio setting up the 3-4. I think he let Ken get his hands on it. I think he's trying to groom Ken into that philosophy, and I think Ken got a little bit of taste of what it can be running a 3-4 scheme and running more linebackers and moving people around. So that looks like a positive note. Now, we win against an inferior team, like you said, the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will be a completely different enemy. But offensively, you're asking about scheme. And to me, it's simple, okay? We're looking at an offense that's explosive. We got some fast speed playmakers, Cooper, Washington, Richard, even our tight ends that, we already know that Bill Musgrave's not going to use the tight end. It's not in his system. We like to see him implement that. That's one thing that they can change. Do you think maybe, this is my opinion, I'll let you comment on it. I just believe that he just doesn't utilize the talent on offense, whether it's Cooper or these running backs, getting them in space, using the slant routes, using the wheel routes more, and stop using the sideline as his best friend, and try to get these guys in space, in movement, with the ball in their hand to make the plays that we know that they're capable of making. Your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, that's the biggest thing I see on every offensive play. I look to see how the wide receivers are set and their route, their trees, and I look at other teams and I think, why can't we have the players to really confuse the defense? Some of these crossing routes, I just don't see him putting the right players and the routes. You can only run up the edge so many times. You can only throw the ball. I just don't see he's using our guys in the right way. Now, thank the good Lord above that Murray came back, because without him this game, I don't know if we would have done anything. But with it's frustrating, and I know you guys feel the same way. It's so frustrating to watch a game and see us go 3 and out for no reason. And here's another thing. If Derek Carr does not get in those shoes and run for 5 yards, he could have run for a touchdown in this game. It was wide open. He could have walked in for a touchdown. Now, Drew Brees does it. Everybody does it, but it just seems like our quarterback rarely, but there's so many opportunities to keep the ball going. Here's another thing I noticed that really upset me, which is when we're ahead and it's the third quarter, Musgrave is like a hen on an egg. He just sits. He sits on it. We run the ball. The other team, what are we going to do? We're going to run out the clock, of course. So we have 3 runs, 2 runs that aren't successful, and some lame short pass. You know, the other way you run out of clock is getting first downs. That's how you run out of clock, is burning it up on first downs. And that, I think, I don't know what he's thinking. I don't know. I don't understand that philosophy. And don't even get me started about Clive Walford or Rivera, because I don't even think they're on the team. I don't even see them because they don't get used enough on the field. I don't know if it's talent. I don't think that's the fact. I just think that he's not a tight end offensive coordinator, which is just so ridiculous. It is the trend in the league. 2 tight end sets. When do we see that? We never do, because he doesn't like to use them, because he puts all his eggs in the baskets of Crabtree and Cooper. That is absolutely why our offense is stale throughout the game. In certain places of the game, it's missing. We have no rhythm. That's what I'm going to say.
Yeah, coming back to those 2 tight end sets, this is something we brought up again yesterday. The Achilles heel for the defense that Ken Norton runs, that Gus Bradley runs, and that Atlanta runs, Seattle runs, is the tight ends. If you have a wide receiver like Amari Cooper, you've got to double cover him. If you double cover him, you're leaving Crabtree open. So that means that you got to rotate some coverage, a linebacker or maybe a safety covering a portion of the field over toward him. Your single high safety shouldn't know what to do. I mean, I've got to help one guy or the other guy. Now, if you're also going to have a running back that's running out into the flat, not upfield, but into the flat, at that point, you should have some big holes, and the tight end should be able to exploit those holes. We have not been able to do that. And again, I don't know if it's a scheme thing. I don't know what's happening with Rivera. But again, I think that Bill Musgrave is trying to take advantage of our slot receiver, Seth Roberts, and use him in that role. But again, if you've got double coverage on one wide receiver, you're rolling coverage toward the second wide receiver, you've got your slot wide receiver running across the middle of the field, and you have a back forcing your linebackers to contain the outsides of the field, it just seems like the middle of the field would be so wide open. And yet, like you said, we don't take advantage of that. Do you think it's stubbornness, or just, again, why do you think we're not trying to attack the middle of the field like that?
I think it's scheme. I think his scheme is just that way. He likes to run the ball. He likes to go long. He likes to run after catch plays, he's the yak coach of the century, don't get me wrong. I don't know why he doesn't use our tight ends. That's a mystery to me. Maybe they're not very good, but you don't have to be that good when you run in the middle of the field and there's nobody there. All you got to do is catch the ball. I mean, that's it. There's not much to it. So I think it's the coach again. I think Norton's already lost his job. I think Musgrave should lose his job. I'm not trying to be hypercritical of him. I don't miss ill will on him. I just don't believe that he has the talent to run this team.
And I will say this too about Bill Musgrave. He just comes off, and this could be a little bit of Jack's philosophy as well. I've said that before. Jack Del Rio being a defensive-minded guy, he wants to put it on his defense. He wants to, and here's the biggest problem, right? Jack Del Rio wants to run the clock out, but like you said, you can't do it. And I said that the halftime report. you could run on first and second down, but when it comes to third down, you have to throw for the sticks. Now, I'm not talking about 3rd and 15 or longer. I'm talking anywhere between 3rd and 8, 3rd and 7. You got to throw for the sticks. We constantly see this guy not call those type of plays. It's always these little 2-yard dump passes or a screen behind the line of scrimmage. Now, Jack Del Rio wants to protect the football, and he wants to run the clock out. If I was Jack Del Rio yesterday, I'm totally stoked, and I am too, that we're 5-2 and we won that football game. But this game, we should have dominated the clock. We should have dominated the time of possession, and we didn't, because when we ran the ball in the second half on first and second down, we were picking up, a half yard to a yard and a half, and then we weren't throwing for the stick. So we weren't moving the change and staying on the field. Even if we weren't scoring points, we were 3 and out, maybe 6 and out at best. So again, it's a philosophy that needs to change. And if Bill Musgrave can't be that guy, I'm with you. It's time to move on. I mean, maybe not this season, obviously. You're going to stick it out. The numbers are pretty good. We're a top 5 offense. Yeah. Okay, I love it. I love that. But to take it to that next level, we need somebody to come in here and take the same kind of scheme, but make it more aggressive. Stop using the sidelines. Use the middle of the field. I watched that Niner game. I've watched the Seattle game where they tried to. That was a defensive game, but they were trying to attack the middle of the field. They were trying to generate momentum. We got to stop using the side. We even use our tight ends going towards the sideline. We're not using, when we do use our tight ends, we're not attacking them in the middle of the field. It's mind blowing. What defensively, did you like what you saw yesterday in that 3-4 cover 2?
Well, it was a surprise to the other team, that's for sure, as much as it was a surprise to me. I was looking for the exact same defensive team we played all year. And here is another thing that just blows my mind in this NFL of 2016. Are we ever going to try to hide what we do? Are we ever going to move people around? Are we ever going to try to confuse the offense? Hey, what a concept. Because they've been doing it to us all season. What is wrong with this defensive scheme? You know where everybody's going to be every play. It's so depressing to see this kind of defense. It's like a college team playing the pros. I don't get it. Matter of fact, it's not as good as some college teams. You got to confuse the offense. And by being in the same place every play, you're not confusing anybody.
Yeah, no, for sure. Greg, why don't you go ahead and let everybody know where they can find the Raider Nation podcast and your Facebook pages and everything else that you do.
Well, you can always find me. I'm on iTunes. You can check me out on the internet. Just type in RaiderNationPodcast.com. You can check out our website as well. We're full of information. We try to put out things, parties and things, and other, like in Tampa, we have a bunch of Raider fan clubs that are having events. So you can check that out if you're going to go to the games. You can see where the parties are. And trust me, the Raider Nation rolls hard in Tampa. It's going to be a great game, great for the fans, and those kind of things. Hey, fellas, I know how hard you guys work. This is a lot of work, you guys, and I appreciate what you do. Everyone should.
Amen, brother. We want to thank you for joining the show again today. We look forward to talking to you every Monday, Raider Greg. You are definitely a legend in this analyzing business here in social media, so we really appreciate your time. And unfortunately, speaking of time, we're out of time, so we'd like to thank you. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at The Will to Win. Email us any questions and concerns at thewtw@gmail.com. For Raider Pirate, for Raider Greg, I am the Knight, and we'll see you guys tomorrow. And stay Raider strong.
And that's why they call me